Welcome back, everybody. So today's gonna be a little different. I have my beautiful wife here, Ariel. She's Miss Unapologetic Prepper, and a few of you guys have made comments about, hey, where's your other half at? Where's your partner at? We hear about her, but we don't see her. And then Cove, our daughter, she is laying down right in front of us, acting all sad because she doesn't feel like she gets to be involved. She wants to be up here with us because she's spoiled. That's what spoiled dogs do. So she's looking all sad at us right now as we're doing this. And so yeah, so we're gonna talk about she's not new. Ariel obviously isn't new to YouTube. My last channel I had a full-time RVing channel, and she made many cameo appearances on that. And that was once when we were dating, and then I think a couple after we got married, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I did a video with her, and she, it was super popular video. Basically, we're gonna be kind of talking about the same things we're talking about today. We were talking about the, how to get your partner on board with full-time RVing and some lessons learned. And so we're kind of gonna do the same thing now. And this is what, 5 years later, 6 years later?
Yeah, about 5 years.
Yeah. So we're talking about from a preparedness standpoint. We're gonna be talking about. And really what I want to bring to the table, and not just have me ramble on, but relationships, right? When it comes to preparedness, because I see a lot of comments out there and a lot of people talk about how, well, I don't feel like my partner's on board. How do I get my partner on board? I feel like prepping is important, but my partner doesn't see the utility in it and stuff like that. And so I thought it'd be good to have my wife come on here and discuss her thoughts and feelings on it. So we live obviously here on a homestead. And you're a city girl, right?
Born and raised in the city originally.
So
Can't say that anymore.
So she's a city girl for sure. And when we were dating, and she has a recording of it, but what did I tell you when we were dating what I kind of wanted?
Well, we kind of had a futuristic conversation about what you intended for the future and what that was going to look like. And you said, I want to have land, I want to have chickens, I want to have my own ability to produce, and basically self-sustainability was the goal.
Kind of always my thing, huh?
Yeah.
And so I was very transparent with you when we were dating, and
you were very upfront.
You knew this was going to be our 5-year plan, right?
After that, I knew, yeah. So it was one of those important conversations because I had to ultimately make a decision, am I going to be a partner in this, or is it something I walk away from? And so it was actually a really eye-opening conversation because it was your vision for us down the road, and you needed to know that you were going to have somebody that was going to be on board with that.
Right, and so I guess there was no surprise this is what we were going to be 5 years from that point, right?
Right. We've had a lot of surprises along the way, kind of make their way into where we're at.
I think everybody has a lot of surprises along the way. But,
a lot of unexpected.
But overall, this was, what I told you.
This was endgame.
Yeah, what I told you I wanted. This is, I think we have a few more animals now than I said before.
I think we get a new animal once a month, maybe once a week sometimes.
I did say
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it.
I did say we wanted goats, and we didn't get goats. Thank goodness we got sheep instead. And
I initiated the turkeys.
She initiated the turkeys. Yeah, she actually came home with turkeys, and we've had them. We love turkeys. We got some turkeys just recently, but so that's great. So do you think for those that are watching that are single or that aren't in relationships, obviously you know me, right? You guys online know me, the Unapologetic Prepper, and I think based upon obviously you're married to me. How would you describe my mentality and demeanor?
When it comes to
anything.
You're very forthcoming.
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Do you always know?
I don't ever wonder what you're thinking. I know you're going to tell me, and I appreciate that.
And I know not everybody's that way, right? And this is something that, obviously being married to Ariel, I've learned a lot more about psychology. She's psychology buff for sure. It's not something I really believe in, obviously, but she makes some great points sometimes. And you have people that are introverts, you have people that are extroverts, and you have people that they look at situations differently and they problem solve differently. And I know, having been married to her and going through this life journey, I've realized and I've pulled back and realized just how important it is to have transparency early on. I feel like a lot of times in relationships, you have can just speak from the guy's perspective, but I feel like you have guys that, you know, they try to do too much appeasing, right? They try to, you know, if you like to walk on the beach in the sand, I like to walk on the beach in the sand. If you like this artist, I like that artist.
Then you get married and it's all the surprise.
Right. And then you like all this shit, I like all this shit, and then I get married, and then next thing you know, Tuesday, I'm watching football or I'm watching the fight, and for any of you guys that think this is tea, you're absolutely wrong. She's drinking tea, but you know.
It's definitely not tea in that cup.
But
okay.
I think that, you know, I'm watching the fight, I'm drinking some beers, I'm having a cigar outside, and now all of a sudden my partner's like, who is this guy? You changed. No, that's pretty much been me the entire time, but I felt more important to appease you than I did, you know, being straightforward with you and honest. You know, there's a lot of guys that like video games, there's a lot of guys that like to do certain things, golf, that kind of thing, watch the fights and stuff like that. Me, she knows this all too well. I like having a few drinks, going out on the porch, howling at the moon, drinking a cigar. Smoking a cigar and having some firewater. So
literally howling at the moon with Cove.
Literally howling at the moon with Cove. Yeah, me and Cove like to howl at the moon together. And so that is a great. That's the best night in the world. Like I can't complain with that. But you know, and obviously I was transparent with you. That's how I wanted to live life. And so I think it's really important for those of you that aren't in relationships, and I'm not a relationship expert. She knows more about psychology than I'll ever know. And she has so many psychology books, on the shelf over there. But what it really comes down to, I think, is just transparency, right? Like, I can honestly say that my 5-year plan, there's some things that worked out, there's some things that didn't work out, but I think we've done really good with our goals, and we continue. And I think communication is important, and I know that it's super important to have those conversations and talks because for this reason, right? My wife, beautiful wife here, came into this relationship knowing exactly where my head game was when it came to preparedness, especially. Were there any surprises about?
No.
This is who I am.
I knew up front, do you want to sign up for this? Because I'm already there. So you want to come along the journey or? Right. Does it work?
And I think it's important because a lot of people feel like, well, if I'm honest, I'm gonna scare people away, right? I mean, I've been watching videos, and just for you can be honest. Do you watch Preparedness Prepper YouTube?
No. I have been exposed to prepping through my husband, and I've learned a lot. And I have the privilege of the 3D version here on the Myrtle Woods homestead. And
but you don't watch all the other prepper.
No, I'm not someone that goes out and sources information. I think that's a great tool.
And I think that's great. And
it's not my nature.
Right. And so obviously I will want to say she watches my videos, but I don't think she watches all of them.
You guys have probably watched more of them than I have, and maybe multiple times.
But that's okay.
Now, I see the 3D version outside the window or alongside out in the yard. And for me, I really benefit and I learn from that. But am I someone that spends my free time?
She's being nice and says that she lives in the real
I'm probably
world.
reading a psychology book.
Right. So she, like I said, I mean, that's where her life is, and that's good. That's, like I said, 110% before I was in this relationship, didn't believe in psychology whatsoever, but she's slowly working on me here. But long story short, I watch these channels and I see people that will literally say, my best friend doesn't know that I prep, right? And there's a lot of people out there that your partner doesn't know that you prep. You're a closet prepper. Like, nobody knows that you prep. Nobody knows the fears and the thoughts that go on in your mind, okay? And so what I want to do, hopefully, we'll get from this conversation, and this is going to be a long-form conversation, so grab your favorite beverage and join along. But I feel like it's important for all we can do is give you our honest input and be as genuine with you as possible and kind of tell you a little bit of our story and our journey and our experiences, and hopefully that can help you in kind of circumnavigating where you're coming from. And obviously we're coming from a point in our relationship where I told her everything. She knew everything going in, right? And she's been along and she's been instrumental.
Most everything.
What didn't you know?
Just basic things that come up through a marriage. I'm just
but from the preparedness aspect.
From a preparedness aspect, right. Sure, I know it all.
It was, as far as that goes, I mean, I've never had the issue with how many things have I wanted to get that you have not allowed me to buy?
think we come to a mutual agreement.
Right. I can't think of anything where I was like, we absolutely need this for preparedness, and she has been, number one, shocked the fact that I asked, and number two, has told me no.
I'm waiting for the next request this week.
Yeah, right? But there's nothing, I don't think there's anything that have I ever came home with something and was like, hey, I knew you were going to be upset, so I just bought it.
No.
Right? And so it's one of those things where I feel like a lot of people, and I guess I'm coming from a place of privilege where I can say I have that openness. Like, she knew going into the relationship, this is kind of a lifestyle that we're going to be having together. So that's one up. But I know a lot of you guys are probably either, and you know me, I'm just very blunt. You guys are either in relationships currently where you are doing that appeasement. If you're a guy or maybe a girl, you're in that relationship where you're just trying to appease the person and you have these thoughts and feelings, but you're too scared to bring them up. Okay. Number one, if you're not married, you're setting yourself up for failure. Just that's what I believe. I'm sure Ariel, I mean, she's smarter than me, so I'll let her kind of tell us what you think. Tell us what you think. Do you think you're setting yourself up for failure if you aren't transparent with your relationship with your partner and you're
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And it's going to come out, and at the end of the day, you're going to be upset, you're going to be frustrated, and you're going to feel like you have to hide this huge part of you that's super important, and ultimately the relationship's not going to be fulfilling because you're unable to have that transparency, have that conversation, and really that's a big part of you.
Right. And so if you're not at that marriage point, before you get married with that person, if you don't address this, you're asking for problems. And this is just, like I said, I'm no psychologist. I'm not smart. I'm not Ariel smart here. I don't know all the things. But I think it's important. I think it's important that that's addressed. Because if not, these things are just going to compile and they're just going to get worse. Okay? And then for those of you that already, let's say you may believe, you guys are already married and you guys are not on the same page. At some point, transparency has to come to has to come to the table. And so talking it from at that point, like I said, if you're not married yet, you have all the opportunity in the world to get this figured out. Obviously, you need
to figure this out.
Once you're married, it's different, and especially for us, we are religious. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that we don't have our own, we don't have a belief system, and so obviously the idea of somebody, well, my partner isn't on board with prepping, so I'm going to divorce them. That's something that's really foreign in our application of how we look at relationships. Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously there are certain reasons. Far reach. Yeah, there are certain reasons why a marriage will dissolve. There's no doubt about that. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that there aren't, but that's
transparency is one of those.
A
lack of transparency.
In our relationship, that's not something that we have an agreement that we don't even bring that up. Okay, we don't say the D word at all. But we came into this relationship in a certain way. So obviously it's easier, I guess, I don't want to say it's easier. We have made already commitments of certain things, right? We don't use the D word. We don't go to bed when there's an issue, right? We address it. And that forces us to look at our issues, and especially not going to bed angry. Anger really breaks you down. So if it's 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and you're tired and you're angry, that's going to break you down to the point where you have to get to the root of the things. And so having those agreements already, pre-decided makes it easier. But for those of you that are already married and you guys are trying to figure out what the game plan is going to be next, at some point transparency has to come about. But I will say, with this huge but, how you decide to be transparent is of the utmost importance, okay? And for those of you guys that watch my channel, I don't do fear porn. How many times have I sat down and was like, Ariel, we got to do this because the collapse is happening. The end of the world's happening and we have to get all this food, when have I ever done that? Right? So I don't think and let's say you are, or just take it from just a woman in general, how helpful is that if I try to convince you of things by trying to scare you into...
It doesn't. I mean, we have the fight or flight response, right? Mm-hmm. So little walnut shape.
Here comes the small stuff. Tell us about the walnut shape.
Your amygdala, right? It has that fight or flight response, so you're going to shut down right away. So if you approach me from a fear standpoint, I'm likely to start turning logic and reason off, and instead I'm going to feel fearful, and I'm not even going to be able to focus and concentrate on what you're saying. I'm going to feel anxiety induced, and then we're not going to have a productive conversation, right? And ultimately, you're not going to be able to find the solve that you're hoping to gain.
So, what she's saying from a smart person's perspective.
You're the smart one.
Stop. From a smart person's perspective is essentially, if I just was like, hey, we have to do that, we have to buy this, we have to do this, we have to do that, and I'm just coming at you from a fear porn perspective, doom and gloom perspective, and I'm constantly berating you with this every day, we're not going to be productive, essentially.
No.
So if every day I'm coming at you with a new article saying, hey, the water supply here has been poisoned, we need 1,000 gallons of water, or hey, food scarcity, look at this YouTube person that I'm watching, look at all these news articles, the grocery stores are probably not going to have food tomorrow, we have to buy $1,000
Fear porn doesn't work.
It doesn't
and
work.
We don't operate in that world.
Yeah. You guys know us, we don't operate in that, but just from a psychology, smart person perspective, from what you were, the big words that you said that I can't recreate, basically the body does have responses to when they feel overwhelmed, right?
Our bodies are designed, and it's a self-defense mechanism, it's a tool, and that's why it shuts down, and so you can't approach it with fear.
You can't overload any system, right? No matter if it's mechanical, biological. So, I mean, if you're thinking about having these conversations with your partner, I'm gonna highly discourage you from being like, hey, here's all the fear porn, and I'm gonna regurgitate everything that all these other prepper influencers have said. I'm gonna throw it on you and expect it to stick and expect to have any kind of productive conversation. Now, with that being said, we are not under the. She definitely is, because she's taught me this. I am not under any ill-conceived notion that, you can always talk your way in one conversation into the person just, oh, wow, I'm really glad we had that conversation. I was totally feeling the totally opposite way, but just everything you've said, even though it made so much sense, I'm just going to change my behavior overnight. Not really realistic. It's not really realistic. You know what I mean? And so I think that's also important. But from a woman's standpoint, right? So let's talk about because obviously you don't watch a lot of channels, so you're not going to get a lot of the nuances that we're talking about, which is probably a good thing.
I might have an outside perspective.
Yeah, I think that outside perspective is going to be super.
I'm going to have fresh eyes and ears.
Yes. So my first question is going to be, for women that are not, take your average city girl, right? City girl.
Right.
That has no exposure to.
That was me initially.
Yes, that has has no exposure to anything of what's going on currently with what we have going on here, right? How would somebody like me be the most productive in approaching somebody when it comes to preparedness? Like, what would be the giving somebody, and some women think feelings, emotions, and obviously men, me anyway, I tend to think very empirical, and there are a lot of emotional men out there. They exist. But best advice for most efficiency here. How could a guy like me convince an average city girl to, hey, maybe you should be prepared?
Well, one, you touched on it already about transparency, especially if you're in a relationship with this person.
Mm-hmm.
And I think purpose is huge. So sharing purpose and reasoning and why we do something, because women especially, we always want to know the why behind, why this, why that. We're curious.
She says that. I think that's just code word for nosy, but okay.
Yeah, we'll call it whatever. We're nosy. We want to know. And
right.
So I think, one, coming from a transparency standpoint, like you said, not being a closet prepper or hider, like women are curious. We want to know if it's something that someone we're looking to be married to is interested in, that's a part of them that we deserve to know, that we should know.
Right.
Second of all, if you are already married, I think appealing to the woman in a way that it would benefit her, right? So if you have children and we look at preparedness in a way that can negatively impact children, then that's going to hit right at home in the heart, because a woman wants to protect her children. So when she understands, why do we need to prepare, and how can this affect our family, and how can this negatively affect the children, that's going to give her more of a motivation to have an interest, to learn more about the topic, and to be curious, and maybe start implementing some of that when she sees how it can directly affect something that's precious to her. So I think really appealing to that person's interest And you and I were talking the other day, and we were talking about the 5 love languages, which I know, I know not everybody, maybe you aren't
So
aware of
I'll
that.
be 110% honest. Before I met Ariel, I had no idea what the love languages were. I had no idea about it. She explained she wanted me to take this test. It was like, she's like, send me this fucking link online. She's like, take the test. And I'm like, why the fuck would I take this test for? This is stupid. But she's like, take the test. And I'm like, I don't want to take the test. She's like, take the test. And I'm like, I don't want to. And she's like, take it. If you love me, you'll take it. And I'm like, that's fucking bullshit, but I'll take it. And I took it, and then she explained to me what it was, and it put its seed in the back of my mind. But like I said, I'll be honest with you. I come from the perspective of I really don't believe in psychology, right? And we can talk about why I don't believe in it, but she slowly, obviously, I have my reservations, but I think that's
planting seeds.
Yeah, I think that just comes from there's a lot of junk science out there in general,
and there really
I think
is.
it's important not to. There's junk science in everything, and I think
that's why you have to research.
I have found psychology is just junk science, and she's been able to really show me like industrial psychology and stuff that's based upon science and stuff like that, which has really hit home and resonated with me. So she's awesome, at least in regards to that. No, she's awesome in general. But yeah, so the love languages, that's I kind of cut you off there, but I will say from a guy's perspective, didn't believe in it until we started talking, and then I realized that, at least for me anyway, it does exist. Like, there are certain ways that I like to receive love, and there's certain ways I don't like to receive love. Like, for example, gift giving. I don't give a fuck about your gifts. I don't fucking care about them. I don't care about gifts. Like, literally, people start asking me years in advance, literally, what I want for my birthday or what, because I just don't care. I will keep pushing off, like, I don't care, we can talk about it later. I am not a gift guy at all. I give two shits about gifts.
If you give him a prepper gift, though, you might get some points.
I'll use it and I'll be thankful, but it's not how I receive love, right? I care more as a guy. I love physical touch, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Quality time is one of hers. I like quality time a little bit, but physical touch, words of affirmation, and just like doing shit, like showing me you care, right?
Acts of service.
Yeah, acts of service. That one, like, hey,
me
like
doing things for you.
Yeah, like she can get me a gift right at the store. Great. But if she goes outside and collects all the eggs and makes sure that the chicken coop is taken care of and I don't have to ask her, wow, that's a huge turn on. Like, she just took care of it.
I fold your laundry and pack your lunch.
I care about that shit. That's fucking awesome, right? But her just going to the store and getting me something, it's not going to have the same effect as her actually going out and showing me.
Whereas your brother, you buy him a gift, you could buy him a pack of razors, and
but fucking best friend.
So
he loves gifts. I mean, just the fact he got a gift. Even
different people have different love languages.
Even if it's a shitty gift, or it's a gift, like I get them prepper gifts just because I like to be funny.
I would encourage you, if you haven't taken the test, to improve your relationship. And this isn't one of this hokey pokey tests. I know there's a lot of relationship crap out there. There's a lot of crappy advice. There's a lot of crappy tests. A lot of them don't do anything. There is actually scientific information, and there's been lots of tests and data run over lots and lots of couples with these different love languages, and even seeing over time the implementation and then the results and the change in the relationship. So I would encourage people to take it, because I feel like since me and you have that awareness of what each other's love language is, we really work hard to meet that need.
And that's a really good point, because especially when it comes to preparedness, I'm going to tell you why this is super important. Okay, so for example, I love to do shit. Like, you guys, I'm a doer. I do shit, right? Mm-hmm. I do things. I could spend all day going outside. I've done this, harvesting an animal, butchering it, the whole 9 yards, bringing it inside, cleaning it. Gut it, clean it, the whole 9 yards. Prepare it, get it all seasoned up, smoke it. Like, I'll spend 2 days doing this, right? Just getting it perfect, right? I'll make sure the house is great, candles lit. I'll do all that stuff, and I'll share a meal with her, and she likes it, and she appreciates it. However, that's not her love. That's not her love language. The love language doesn't start until we spend quality time together. This fucking word called quality time, and it's taken a few years. I finally have realized, what her love language and what her needs are, and that's important, because I didn't realize that until, and I think she did it on purpose. She gets me a gift and is like, "Here you go," and I'm like, "Okay," and she's like, "Well, this is how I show love. This is how people show love. why don't you like it? And I'm like, because I don't fucking like gifts. You know that. She's like, exactly. So when you do all these things for me, I appreciate them. Just like I'm sure you appreciate this gift I got you. However, you don't appreciate as much as acts of service, touch, and words of affirmation. And then finally I was like, oh shit, she's right. And I was like, well, fuck, she's right. And so I had to admit she was right. And I had to realize, just because I believe I'm showing somebody love doesn't mean they're receiving it the same way.
And naturally, we tend to show love how we like to receive love.
Right. So from a preparedness standpoint, and we'll touch on this in a second, but understanding how that person receives love is going to be super important in your appeal to preparedness. It really is. One great example that I like to use is a guy that was not into preparedness. Girl, believe it or not, she wasn't into preparedness. Computer acted up, sorry. So she was super big and she got into preparedness. She wasn't always into preparedness. City girl, she saw the utility in it. Husband, no, not even close. Great guy, IT tech guy, loved video games. If it had electricity running into it, he could figure it out. Like, he's just one of those guys. Genius. You could not convince him to get a pet. Couldn't have no pet dog, no pet cat, no nothing. No goldfish, no pets. So getting chickens was out of the question. She's like, well, you get not even close. He didn't care about how much prices went up on chickens. There's no way. She tried to do the whole fear porn thing. He didn't buy it. And, yeah, and for those ladies that are out there that are listening to this, there are really three main reasons why a guy is not going to take you seriously when it comes to preparedness. Okay, I'm going to be fucking blunt because you have to hear it. Number one, because kind of what Ariel touched on, they shut down. They get overwhelmed by the information. They don't know how to process it, and they're just like, no, nothing productive comes. They shut down. Number two, they're so egotistical. They really honestly think they can conquer anything, right? Doesn't matter what comes. I'm not going to look at the empirical data. I don't care. Nothing's going to happen. And if it does happen, I'm a fucking man and I'll figure it out, right? Number two. And number three, the reason why they won't do it, and this is a really shitty reason, but this is probably most men out there. I'm not going to fucking lie. Number three is most men out there. They're not going to take your advice because you're the one that came up with it. I see this all the time, especially in relationships with nothing to do with preparedness. The wife can be right, but the reason why the men can't, or the guy can't go through with it. Yeah, pride. Because she came up with it.
Stumbling block. She
came up with it, therefore I'm not going to do it. Honest to God truth. And I'm telling you this from a guy's perspective. No reason to bullshit with you. So with that being said, she was like, mutual friend of ours. She's like, I really feel the need for it, this, that, and the other. I've asked her kind of what she did. I'm like, she said she went with the fear porn thing, and I'm like, that's a fucking horrible idea. Why'd you do that? And so I was like, well, what are the love languages? She had no idea. Take the test. Begrudgingly, she got him to take the test, right? Takes the test. She is a doer. She likes when people do things, which makes sense because her house is actually pretty nice. And she does stuff, and when you mess that up, she gets flustered. Go figure. Anyway, so she's a doer, and she likes words of affirmation. Guess what? He loves gifts. He loves gifts. Give him a gift. And I've known that about him, but this is what she did. For Christmas time, she got him because he's a big gamer guy, she got him a battery backup. Basically, and I know I use them at work. I know other people use them at work. Banking uses them at work. First responders use them at work. Basically, it's a great gift. Yeah, you plug all your electronics that need to be backed up into the battery backup. So if you ever lose power, and you're, let's say you're typing something up and you have all these important bank stuff, it doesn't just lose it, right? No matter what happens with the power, it stays on. So she bought him one of those, and he was like, "Oh, this is actually pretty cool." She's like, "Yeah, I just, if anything happens, I don't want you. I know your gaming is important to you." So she appealed to the gaming. I know your gaming's super important to you. So, he's a techie guy. He figured it out real quick. He plugged everything in. He thought it was pretty cool. I think it's pretty cool. Well, months later, they're out. She's watching him play video games because she's a good wife. Boom.
Quality time.
Power goes out. But what stays on? All his video game stuff. He's playing Call of Duty or some first person shooter, some bullshit. what didn't he have plugged in? He didn't have his Wi-Fi connection plugged in. So he lost Wi-Fi, right? So the game fucking stopped working, but everything was on, but everything was off, right? So TV's on, game system's on, fucking DVD player's on, entertainment system's on, Wi-Fi's not on. So he goes, plugs Wi-Fi in, boom, Wi-Fi's on. There's no power in the city, but this guy is somehow able to play fucking Call of Duty with his Chinese friends or whatever the fuck they are. We're not afraid to say words here. I'll say fucking China. I don't give a shit. but
we did all that before we were married.
Yeah, she knew all that before we were married. So yeah, so he's able to play with all his fucking friends, right? Well, that's what that snapped it in. He figured it out. All of a sudden, everything fucking clicked. Holy shit. This is preparedness, right? So he didn't need it from a fear porn, we got to get fucking chickens perspective. He looked at it from something that appealed to him. So he had a gift that appealed to his likes, appealed to what he wanted, and it clicked. And guess what? Now he's into preparedness, right? It took,
awesome.
And it's what works out great is it was his idea, right? She got him a gift because of his likes. Hey, I know you like video games. I know your electronic shit's important. Let me give you something, right? So what do they spend the rest of the night doing? Plugging shit into the fucking battery backup to see what worked, right? Hair dryer, toaster oven. I don't think toaster oven worked, but they plugged a bunch of shit into it to see what worked. And he's mathematical, he's empirical, he science numbers, all that other fucking IT bullshit. And he loved it. Like and she loved it too. She's into preparedness. They spent the rest of the night plugging shit in and seeing what worked. I would say that's a fucking win, like that's fucking great. But was she going to get to him with the fear porn? No. Was she going to get to him with, we got to get chickens, no. She appealed to his love language, and she appealed to his likes and dislikes. So guess what? He saw the utility in it. This is important, right? So what did he do? The guy's smart as fuck, right? So he uses his skill set, his IT skill set, set up different types of renewable energy stuff, solar panels, that whole shit. He has fucking, he doesn't, like I said, doesn't do the livestock stuff, but they have food on hand. They have one of those little water bladders they can plug into their fucking bathtub, in their spare bedroom bathtub, fill it with water. So he went from zero to hero, essentially, right? And it just took it clicking, and it was his idea, right? Because she got him a gift. She said, I don't know, she knew what was going on, but she appealed to him in the loving way that only a wife can, and it clicked for him. He's like, holy shit, this is a great fucking gift. Wow, let's plug shit into it. Wow, this is a problem, and guys we love to head on, right? My wife has a problem. My first instinct is, how do we fucking fix it? Who we got to beat up, right? That may not be what she wants. She may just want to talk out her problems, right? But for a guy, we love to, boom. So once you can open that door and you give him a challenge for him to fucking attack, he's going to go about it and he's going to fucking attack it because that's what men do.
So for a city girl, to answer the question.
I'm a little rough around the edges. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
We know. So for a city girl, listening to that story, you have to think, what would her love language be, and is there a way you could appeal to prepping by having a general knowledge of her love language, and would there be a way that you could tie that in?
Yeah, and I think that's just
super. To circle back to the original question.
No, yeah, I think that's super important, and that's just, like I said, that's just one example from a guy, IT techie guy, who does not believe in preparedness, doesn't see the utility in it, and how knowing what his love language was. Mm-hmm. Gift giving, right? Mm-hmm. Knowing that she could, and obviously we helped with that, but I thought that was a great gift, right? Cost a little bit of money, but
practical.
It was practical, and it's something that instead of buying, think about it. If you buy a few, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I fucking know everything, but I imagine a brand new Xbox or PlayStation or something probably costs $200. I don't know. You have brothers that play video games. I don't know.
We don't even have Wi-Fi.
We don't even have Wi-Fi here. So, $200. I imagine a game system, I'm thinking like $500 to $600 just for the game system and maybe a controller and some games. But
that sounds
reasonable. Like, I think it's $599. I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I fucking know. But if you were to buy just a basic game system, going to be $200. And let's say let's say you have the game system, but you're gonna buy fucking games and controllers. Then
what do you need? Accessories, games.
Yeah, all the other bullshit. It's gonna cost money. Headset. Or what she did was, instead of buying any of those, she bought a battery backup. he loved it. He thought this was great. He was like, oh shit, this is pretty cool. And he got to see it in action, right? Mm-hmm. She was not going to convince him. Like, a lot of people think that we can just have these over 5-minute conversations and I'm going to wow you with all my facts and knowledge and you're just somehow going to accept it. Sometimes it takes life happening for you to be like, holy shit, applying it. And she did it perfectly. She appealed to him. He received it. Pretty cool. It's technology. He got to see it in action.
Yeah.
And then they both together got to go around the house, plug things in, perform activity together.
Right.
Right? And now she's appealing to him as the man. Mm-hmm. And I shocker here, I feel like women like to be protected. Am I wrong? Tell me if I'm wrong. They like to be protected. They like to be taken care of. So now you have the man doing his alpha role, going around the house and being like problem solving. Like, wow. So we have all this. Yeah, he's empowered. We have all this shit off. We have a tool that we can use. And now he's going to use his vastness of knowledge and his critical ability to problem solve, which he does professionally every fucking day. And he's able to prepare to be sustainable.
He wins. He wins.
That's a fucking win right there. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like, and she tried the fear porn, didn't fucking work, right? So this is a app, like practical.
Well, think about this too. We just experienced a global pandemic, and that hasn't created enough fear porn, and it's still not working. The average American in 2019, basic preparedness, maybe they were going out buying, canned goods, extra water on hand.
Hey, people are doing that now, believe it or not.
Right, it's a learning curve. So
she's so 2000.
Once something happens, people will realize that light bulb comes on, and it's like, oh my God, this is what I need to do.
She makes a great point, because there's a lot of you guys out there that are new preppers from this, global pandemic thing,
which is great.
Yeah, no, I think it's great.
Be at a starting point.
I think it's great. It's great that a lot of people are waking up to it. What I hope happens, because there's a lot of people that have woken up to it, and unfortunately, I just personally feel, and obviously she doesn't watch preparedness, she experiences it in real life every day.
Version, guys.
But there's a lot of you guys are getting bad advice from people, right? And it's kind of funny how, people give advice about what it is to be prepared and prepping and this and stuff, this, that, and the other. And then they'll tell you how to go about getting your partner on board. But then immediately they'll tell you that their partner doesn't agree with them. Or they'll immediately tell you that their best friend doesn't know. Yeah, that their best friend doesn't know that they prep. And it's like, so how are you guiding people along in this when it sounds like you have stuff to work out first, right? And we all have stuff to work out. Our relationship, everybody's relationship could be better. But, coming from a starting point, you have to understand that is important, the communication and the why, like what she said. The why and the transparency behind it. Another good story that I got. I think women are, it's easier to explain preparedness to women than I think it is to men for those reasons that I outlined earlier. And so I've always found the best way to go about preparedness is through emulation of leadership. Okay, being a doer, fucking doing things. Because I know as a male, I look up to people that are accomplished and people that have done things, people that are doers. Every mentor I've ever had, I've looked up to them, and I still look up to them to this day because they are men of action. They are men of action and impeccable ethical and moral backing. There's something about that for me, it just has an appeal. You have a very strong, courageous man of morals that's unwavering and unflinching in what he believes in, right? To me, that's everything, right? Because there, especially in 2021, it's so hard. Men like that have to get fucking flung through the mud, right? To have somebody that literally says, this is what I believe in. I'm a man of value, and I'm a doer of action, and I'm unapologetic. Hence, unapologetic prepper. And it's not because I'm putting myself on a pedestal, because I'm definitely not. But that's something that I attain for. Being unapologetic in that approach for moral backing and somebody that is a doer, right? And so I think that that's important in regards to, leadership, being somebody that does something. So the reason why I think it's easier to, get women on board for preparedness is because biologically, I believe women they want to be taken care of. They want to be protected, and they want to know that
instinct.
Yeah, they want to know that I am here to be the best person that I can to protect you, to do everything I can to grow something together. I think that's super important. And I think that's important for me too. So I remember there was a time I'm coming home. I'm driving home, and for those of you guys who don't know, I drive a really big lifted truck with a 6-foot CB, antenna off the top, iron cross, front bumper, back bumper. I look like a total country pumpkin because I am a country pumpkin. And I remember I'm driving through, and I'm stopping off to get gas. So I get gas, and I notice there's a woman in a minivan or something like that, or maybe it's an SUV, and she's in the back side of the parking lot because there's there's like a store that's closed, this gas station that's about to close in like 10 minutes, and she's kind of like parked, looks like she went through the gas station. Anyway, she doesn't look like she looks like she needs help. So I get gas, and the attendant who's there, the last guy there, he's like 19-year-old kid. You can tell.
We know what his priorities are.
This kid, he obviously knows she's there. I guarantee you he knows there's a problem, but this kid literally does not get paid enough. He gets paid minimum wage, and all he wants to do is get some Taco Bell and go home and fucking get on his game system and fucking hang out. Or
Netflix and
hopefully, yeah, I'm not saying that. I don't condone premarital sex, but maybe go home, Netflix and chill with his girlfriend or whatever, random girl, whatever. Like I said, I don't condone that, but there's not enough people having real life person-to-person contact, so I think it's important that people go out there and
anyway, she was not a priority to him.
But what I'm trying to say is she was not a priority. Is exactly what I'm trying to say, and he could care less, right? And obviously with me, I always look at these opportunities as a way to plant the seed.
You grew up doing this.
So
with your grandpa.
My grandfather, you
were raised this way.
My grandfather is the nicest man I've ever known.
Give you the shirt off his back, literally.
Literally, and when I say that, I've seen it.
Would.
Like, just they don't make them like him anymore, I guess. And so, like I said, so many stories about my grandpa. Maybe we'll have to do a whole video on that. But if somebody needs help and she looks like she needs help, the least I can do is offer my services. Now I realize pulling up, looking like I do, and I just went to the big city for. What do I go? Feed.
You're probably running Cascade, Home Depot, all the main stops.
Yeah, all the main stops, right? So, towing a trailer.
You're in
work clothes. You guys see what I look like when I'm working.
Boots and
fucking flannel. You look at me and you're like, I don't know if I want this guy talking to me. I get it, right? So I get out of the car and, I get out of the driver's seat of my car, come up where she is, and, she immediately looks at me and I'm like, ma'am, do you need help? And she's looking at me, and I know that she's a little flustered, and it's dark. The parking lot where she's at, there's no light, right? And so now, great wife that taught me psychology. No, and so I know she needs help. It's obvious. You can see the panic on somebody's face. She needs help. So I'm like, hey, I can help you. Is there anyone I can call? I can call the fire department. I can call the police department. Is there anybody I can call that need to help you? She's like, no, I called my husband. I'm like, oh, is he on his way? You're good? And she's like, he's at work, and she's like, and the only reason why she tell me that is because she literally, like, I'm asking her pointed questions and improv. The reason why she's being as forthcoming as she is because she really does need help. She feels overwhelmed. For me, I carry tools. I carry a bunch of stuff in my car. This is, whatever. I'll figure it out. But for people that have never been pushed, the feeling of being completely overwhelmed, I know what it feels like to be overwhelmed, and that's what she's going through right now.
And when you're in that panicked of a state, you don't think as logically,
right?
To kind of think through your answers,
right?
And so she could have given you different information because the safety lights could have gone off. This strange man is talking to me, and I shouldn't tell him that my husband is at work for a few hours. Not as thought through. Right.
And so she's kind of in a panic. So I said, hey, this is what I can do. I said, because it's dark. So I had a flashlight. I turned the flashlight on and I left it because she's kind of sitting in the car. I left it in front of her car. I said, there's a flashlight. Grab it. Take a look. See if you can figure out what's wrong. I'm going to go to the back of my car. I'm going to pull out some tools. Maybe I can help you if you want. And she's like, okay. And I'm like, if you don't want help, that's fine. I get it. And I was just honest. I get it. It's dark outside. You have no idea who I am. I don't want to impose, but if you need help, I'm sure we can figure this out. I'm sure this is something very simple. So this is an old combat medic trick that I learned, especially with kids. If you give them a tool or a stethoscope, it's amazing how far you can get with children when they feel like they're empowered, right? So if you have to give a kid a shot, right, and he's scared, he's super, he has no idea what's going on, or you have to provide patient care, giving him the thermometer and allowing him to pretend like he's trying to find my heartbeat while I give him a shot, it makes the little kid feel like he's in control. It makes him feel like, hey, I'm in control. I'm doing something, right? And it gives me the ability to give him. I'm involved.
I'm connected to the situation.
It works for little kids. It works for men. It works for women, right? So I gave her a flashlight. She can now see better, and she feels like she's empowered, right? She feels like she is doing something. Because the last thing I want to do is belittle her, right? Especially when I'm using this as a preparedness, trying to instill preparedness into her. But at the same time, I can't pretend like I don't understand the fact that I'm a guy, and to some people, I might be a little imposing, right? And I have a mouth on me, is what comes down to it. I'm pretty sure I said fuck like 17 times while I was there, because I say fuck all the time. And so, I give her a flashlight, and when I leave the flashlight there, I can look in her car, and I realize that she has a baby, a toddler in a car seat. So she's a mama bear mode, and she's not thinking logically. She's just thinking, I don't know if I need to try to tear this guy's arm off, or if I need to grab my kid and run. I'm sure there's a lot going on in her mind, and I understand that. And at first I thought that because she had for some reason she had her hood up, I thought it was just a car battery thing. Perfect. I'm gonna connect my Schumacher external power pack to it. We're gonna start this bitch up, and we're gonna fucking go, right? Turns out that on the other side, her tire was popped. Why she had the hood popped, I have no fucking idea. But whatever, she popped the hood.
Part of the state of panic, just trying to find the problem.
She saw it in the movie once. Anyway, so I go, she tells me that her tire's flat. I said, oh, okay, that's simple. And she said, I tried to air it up at the gas station, and I talked to the attendant there, but I don't have coins or whatever it took. It took coins. And so the first thing I thought was, wow, this guy really wanted to go home. I'm thinking, yeah, I get it. You probably shouldn't give people free air, but fuck. You know what I mean? Come on. Whatever, 19-year-olds.
It's free at a lot of gas stations.
19-year-olds. What are you going to fucking do? Right? So I said, okay, well, if you want, I don't want to be superimposing, like I said before, but if you want, I'm pretty sure I can fix this flat tire for you, and it can at least make it home until your husband can figure out what you guys want to do. She said, are you sure? I'm like, no, I'm 110% positive if it's just a pop tire, and I haven't seen the tire yet, but if it's just a pop tire, I'm pretty sure we can figure this out. Okay, will you please show me your flat tire? So I allowed her to show me the flat tire. Yes, it was a flat tire, and it was all the way flat. Do I have everything in my pickup truck? Yes, I do. The little rubber, pop it in, the whole 9 yards. The Schumacher power pack is also air compressor. Literally 15 minutes, and we had this thing up and going, right? And so, I went and I did that for her. And so she was obviously, she was thankful. She was thankful about it. But, I decided we're going to make this a preparedness lesson. And so it's about empowerment, right? So instead of sitting there and telling her, well, this could happen at any time. It's super important to have a power pack. You should definitely have a power pack because these things can happen at any time, and you need to realize that you have your kid. You're responsible for that kid.
That's going to do no good right now.
Yeah.
It's fear porn all over.
Right. I could easily do that. What did I do? I empowered her. What did I tell her? I said, hey, I just want you to know, every woman should have one of these things. You guys deserve to have one of these things. And she's like, oh yeah, and I'm like, and she thanked me numerous times, and I told her, and she tried to give me, she's like, hey, is there any way that I can, pay you money or this or that? And I told her no, and I told her, when it comes down to it, my wife or my mom, were in the same position as you, I would hope and I would pray to God that there was somebody that would come up that would do the exact same thing I did. I said, all I want is good karma, right? I said, I hope somebody would come and help them out. So I don't want you to pay me. I don't want you to put any juju on this karma that I got. I just want good vibes all the way around. And I, like I said, if my wife or my mom was in the same position, I'd want somebody to come and do the exact same thing. And she's like, I really appreciate that. And that's when I said, But this power pack, though, you deserve to have one of these things. Did you also know it can charge your phone? And when I told her that, that's what it clicked for her. Women, go figure, right? If I told her it could make an espresso coffee, that probably would have sealed the deal. She's like, really? I'm like, yeah, grab your phone charger. I'll show you. So she gave me her phone and her phone charger, iPhone. I plug it in. I flip the inverter. Bing! It pops up and it's charging. She was sold, right? She saw that I could, jump her car with it. She saw that I could, blow up her tire with it, and I could fix a flat tire, and I could air her tire. But the fact that she could charge her phone with it floored. I'm like, you could also charge your computer. Really? And I showed her where it had the AC wall socket on it. And I'm like, yeah, you plug anything that, you can charge your computer on it. No way. I'm like, yeah. I said it doesn't do your taxes, but, it'll do all this stuff. She's like, my husband's buying me one of these things tomorrow. And I'm like, he better buy you one of these things tomorrow. Absolutely. She was empowered, and I truly believe, she was, obviously she looked like a well-to-do lady. It was a nice SUV, nice vehicle. She was dressed nice. I could tell that, she obviously probably comes from some kind of, she has some kind of currency backing. And well-to-do. And when she said, my husband's going to buy me one of these things tomorrow, I truly believe it. I believe she's going to tell her husband, hey, this is what happened, and we need one of these things. Regardless if he's on board or not, she was just certain that she was gonna get one of these things. And so I feel like if I would have went at it differently, no, it wasn't gonna click. I was gonna overwhelm her, and she was just gonna have a bad experience. But I turned this horrible experience, and by allowing her and giving her the opportunity to participate and to take control in she wasn't in control at all, let's be honest.
Instead of her shutting down.
But instead of her shutting down, I made her a participant in what I was doing. And like I said, this is an old trick I learned as a combat medic, but, her participation is key. She needs to think this is her idea, and within that short encounter, it became her idea. My husband is getting me one of these things. I'm going to have one of these things, and I'm going to put it in my car, and if I ever need it, shit, I fucking got it. I may not know how to use it, but if anything, I guarantee you, she will know how to use it to charge your iPhone or computer. So she may never know how to use it for anything else, but her husband just bought her a fucking...
She's probably told all her friends.
Her husband just bought her a fucking $200 power pack that can charge her fucking cell phone. Good for fucking her. You know what I mean? And so this is just to say that leadership, right? I can sit here and I can tell all my friends and I can tell them about why the world's going to shit, or I can live a lifestyle worth emulating. I can be a leader worth following, right?
You can be a producer.
Be a producer of things. Important things to think about.
Absolutely.
But back to the psychology, I think the psychology thing is super important. I know a lot of people feel overwhelmed, right? And you have a really good analogy we were talking about it the other day, and it wasn't even about preparedness, but you had a really good analogy about when you feel overwhelmed. You remember?
What was it exactly that we were talking about?
You were talking about how some people feel overwhelmed because they feel like they compare themselves to other people when they should be comparing themselves to who they are now or where they want to be.
Oh, the exercise?
The exercise one.
Well, I was kind of linking it to prepping too, because I was just thinking, we set ourselves up for failure before we even start when we compare ourselves to Joe Schmo over here who has all these livestock and, he's got a garden and a greenhouse and everything that a prepper might aspire to have.
You keep telling the camera this, I'm going to go get a refill.
Well, and I think of it in terms of exercise, too, or any basic thing that you're trying to work on. Like, with exercise, you don't just go into the gym knowing how to use every machine in there and come out the next day like a bodybuilder. It takes a little bit at a time. It takes building up to it, and it's just about getting started. And so, you go to the gym, and maybe you run for the first day, and maybe you only run 10 minutes, or maybe you walk 10 minutes, but at least you got on the treadmill and you got in there. Maybe after 2 weeks you started to lift weights. But you're making progress. And
yeah, no, I think that's a good analogy, because I think, let's be honest, when you're talking about preparedness, I'm trying to be nice just because my beautiful wife's here, but
Well, you've already said the F word like 20
No.
times, so I don't know what we're...
So she's in better shape than me. Okay, I'm just gonna... I need to be in better shape.
We're on that journey, and what matters is we've started.
No, I love the exercise thing. Obviously, we work out all the time. She is at a way better... She has a way better schedule than I do, and she's on it.
I can't say that I've always done that, but it's what I was just explaining. It's getting started, and then
I'm a very lucky man. She always takes a really good care of herself. But you know, I like the exercise analogy just because a lot of times, right? And this is what I feel like with preparedness. Okay, I'm just gonna be 100% honest. You see the guy in the gym, you know, Mr. fucking V Shred himself, Mr. Vince himself, you know, great looking dude from Ohio, by the way. He's in there and he's jacked. He has the fucking 8-pack. He's lifting heavy weights. He looks good. And then you have the guy, and let's just say that guy
with the donut in his
right.
pocket.
And let's just say Vince, Mr. Vince is, you know, some homestead extraordinaire prepper guy that everybody's just like, oh, he's a homesteader. And then you have Joe Schmo that walks up and he's eating a donut, right? And he looks into the fucking gym and he sees Mr. Vince. And let's say for some reason he just gets woke and he realizes, holy shit, the collapse is about to fucking happen and I'm gonna die. My life choices up to this point have situated me for failure, right? Mr. Vince has lived his entire life as a health guru, right? And now you have the guy eating the fucking donut that's like, holy shit, you know, my life's about to, like, I could get a cardiac arrest at any moment. Like, my life's fucking, my numbers, my days are numbered.
I'm about to break the
right?
scale.
And so what do? These preppers, we'll speak the switch over, but these people that are new into working out, what do? They buy all the supplements and they fucking just try to throw their body against the fucking wall to get into shape. And what do? They end up failing, right? They end up getting fucking depressed because they're not seeing the results they want to see. And unfortunately, I've seen people take their own lives because of shit like that, right? They get so fucking depressed and they get so overwhelmed by wanting to look like fucking Mr. V Shred.
Because they set the bar so high.
They set the bar unrealistic high. And same goes for Mr. V Shred too, right? The bar is unreasonably high. So let me give you a great example. You need to be preparing yourself for today, and you need to prepare and you need to set goals that are accommodating to you, right? And the same thing for Mr. V Shred himself, because you are not going to be able to, like, let's say you have an experienced bodybuilder, experienced athlete, right? And he's trying to hit the 1,000 club, right? So part of that would be, you know, let's say he needs, you know, in order to get to the 1,000 club. And for those of you that know what the 1,000 club is, by taking different workouts, whether like combining your bench press with your squat, with, say, you know, incline. I mean, the 300, you know, the 1,000 club, right? So you're taking your top 3 lifts and seeing if you can equate to 1,000 pounds, right? And so when you look at that, right? So you're going to do your squat, you're going to do, gosh, I can't think right now. Squat, bench, and then
chest press, whatever.
No, it's not chest press. It's gosh, I can show you. I just can't. No, it's not incline. Deadlifts. There you go. Gosh, man, I'm out of it today. So you take deadlifts, squats, bench press. You take those 3 and hopefully equates to 1,000 pounds, part of the 1,000 pound club, right? So let's say you need 300 pounds for bench press, and let's say you're at 270. Let's say you can bench 270, right? So you can bench press 270, and you're trying to get to 300. Well, if you just look at that, your whole life, you've worked up to this point. If you think you're just going to slap 30 pounds on there and just lift it, you could tear something. You could put yourself back, right? So you have to take reasonable steps to get to 300 pounds, right? And this is for somebody who is a no-shit athlete that does this shit every fucking day, right? If you are wanting to bench 300 pounds, I'm telling you, you could do it. It's not easy, though. It takes work, you know, especially if you're a small guy like me. Like, practice. It takes work to get to 300 pounds. You can do it, but you have to regiment yourself. You can't just, if you just add 300 pounds, you're going to hurt yourself, and that's going to set you back. Same thing with somebody who is just starting off to weightlifting. You can't put a bunch of weight on the bar and expect to do it. So he can't look at that guy and say, I'm going to be like him. I'm just going to fucking throw weight on there. He needs to gradually. But the same for the guy that is already lifting heavy. He can't look at somebody who is a brand new bodybuilder or brand new to working out and be like, oh, well, since he's at a lower level, I guess I can just pat myself on the back. No, dude. You're comparing yourself to somebody who just fucking started.
And this concept.
How is that? Yeah, how is you comparing yourself to him somehow gonna make you better as a person? No, that's what cowards
it's gonna
do.
Overwhelm you.
Yeah, that's what cowards do. That's what losers do. They try to show off to people that are just brand new. That does nothing for you. That does nothing to make you better. That's why real life people that have real life accomplishments, they don't compare themselves to other people. They use that as motivation to work harder, but they're trying to be the best.
They compete with themselves.
They're trying to be the best version of themselves every day. And that's the same thing when it comes to preparedness, right? So the guy eating the donut looking at Mr. Vince over there, he's, a lot of people get into preparedness usually, in the 30s and 40s, some later, but, holy shit, I'm having this midlife crisis. I'm woke. Holy shit, I've lived my entire life, and I'm like, I need to get into preparedness. I need to prepare. And so all of a sudden, what do? Just like the brand new guy that's into working out, you buy all the supplements, you buy all the gear, you buy all the accessories because that's what you think. These YouTube influencers out there are trying to sell you the workout starter pack, right? You need to have this, you need to have that. That's what it is.
Hydroponics, aquaponics.
Yeah. That's what you need.
Get the green
house.
Get the
They're trying to sell
chickens.
you. They're trying to sell you on the I'm just new to working out starter pack. That's what they're selling you guys, right? And so you get the starter pack and you start spending money and you start trying, but guess what? You look at somebody, that's been preparing for a super long time, and all of a sudden you feel overwhelmed and you feel like, well...
And you quit before you even start.
I'm depressed. I'm so depressed.
I'm
feeling
depressed.
The donut guy
is back in his car eating donuts.
Yeah,
looking...
because you bought all the gear, you bought all the supplements, and then now you're depressed because you keep hearing bad news and you're not where you don't feel like you're worthy where you need to be. You're literally somebody that has, hate to say this, but, it's like you're having like bulimia or something. You have some kind of, eating disorder because you're finally woke to the point that there's a problem, but you don't know how to fix it, right? And I'm saying that, and I'm trying to be the most, most merciful here, but that's what the YouTube, that's what YouTube influencers are trying to feed you. They're trying to feed you the prepper starting kit. What I'm telling you is you don't need the fucking prepper starting kit. You don't. It's
Look at people even 100 years ago. They didn't even know what a prepper starting kit was. They just knew how to work and use their hands and make something.
And they were more prepared than all of us were, right? And so, people all the time, they'll ask me, how do I get into homesteading? How do I get into preparedness? How do I do this? How do I do that? And I'm always very honest. And the first thing I tell people is, please don't spend any money. For the love of God, don't spend any money. I have a video, I can link it in the description box below, but there are more than 10 things that you can do. It don't cost you a dime. That'll make you more prepared than a lot of people. And this isn't one of those get rich, quick schemes, but there's like 10, 12 things that you can do right now that cost zero money that'll get you more prepared than most YouTube influencers that are out there. There's no joke. That's literally no joke. I'm not even kidding. So I'll link that in the description box below. But, a lot of people, they fall victim to this, prep quick, get rich quick, prep quick. And that's not, it's not useful. It's not helpful. And so, I feel like when we look at this logically, especially for those of you that, the other, your other half isn't into preparedness, I think it's super important that we look at this from a very nuanced lens. And so, I think we can both agree. I think communicate. So if I had to give you our best advice, I think that communication is key.
The transparency. Go hand in hand. Communication.
Yes. But how you deliver that transparency and that communication is also key.
Approachability.
I'll be 100% honest with you. Before I met my wife, I did not believe in love languages. I did not believe in psychology. I mean, I'm like how you have like never Trumpers, like, I was a never psychology guy. I just didn't fucking believe in it. But, finding out what your love language is support, because it helps your relationship, right? The fact that she knows that she can disregard all the other, 3 other love languages and just focus on touching me, words of affirmation, and doing shit for me, that's helpful. You know what I mean? Yeah. Screw those other ones, like...
Winning!
You know, today I just want you to touch me and tell me nice things. You know what I mean? I'm just being. We can be adults here, so it's nice to. It's nice to know that.
Get your mind out of the gutter.
Yeah. No, my mind's definitely gone. But you know what I mean? Like, it's nice to know that she knows what my love languages are, and she's 100%.
I don't think about it. I don't wake up in the morning and think, what can I try today? I automatically know, and it's autopilot. I know what to do.
She knows. She definitely knows what to do. So there's no questions there, right? And so I think that's important. So knowing what your partner's love language is.
Communication and transparency.
Communication is transparency. See, she keeps me on track. Knowing what the other person's love language is, right? And then using that to effectively not only communicate with them, be transparent, and then being able to bring up these conversations without fear porn, right? Like I said, if you have kids or you have somebody that, that you're in charge of taking care of, it's important to look at that from a very nuanced perspective and being like, you know what? Yes, you can talk about, food prices. We see it, food prices are going up. There are things that are happening, but I don't think it would hurt if we did this. I think this is going to be, I think this is beneficial, and being able to attach that with, a love language is super important, especially if somebody's love language is, gifts. Like that's a super easy sell.
Or if it's quality time, do the tasks together.
Yeah. Doing a task together, doing something together.
If you spend all your time outside and your hobby and all your free time is distorted to prepping, but your wife's love language is quality time, man, pull her in on it. Hey, honey, would you be open to coming outside? I'm going to build this fence today and show you how to do this. I'm going to work in the garden. I'm going to build an aquaponics system today. I'd love to show you what that looks like. Pull that person in on it, because that's going to hit right at home with her if she's going to feel involved. And then she's, one, you're going to fill her love tank because you're meeting that need, that love language of that quality time. And second, she's getting an education, and you're able to do what you love and you're passionate about, and you're able to do it with the person that you love most. So it's a win-win for the both of you.
Boom. I like it. Yeah, and there are no... I want to say a lot of times, so you may not realize this, but there are a lot of videos out there that talk about what can you tell your partner to become a prepper? Like, what do you tell them? And you can give them all the facts. You can give them all the statistics. You can give them everything. But a lot of times, until they experience it for themselves, you can have the best argument in the world, but...
Well, look at the guy that when the power went out, he had... the power pack. And then he saw the need, and this light bulb came on. That was
months and months later. But the light bulb came on, So it's one of those things where, it may not be overnight that you can convince somebody. Take me. I'm a great example of that, right? The love language thing, she had mentioned it when we were dating. She's into psych. She knows all that shit. I didn't buy it. I didn't buy into it. I didn't. It wasn't until, she's smart. She's smarter than me. It's not until she was like, hey, she purposely went out of her way to get me gifts. And we had that conversation. And then that's when it finally clicked, like, oh. So when I do things for you, this is how you feel. When I do acts of service, you feel like the same when I get gifts. Oh. Mm-hmm. Oh. This really sucks. So for the first couple of years of my marriage, I've pretty much been that guy that's basically like, you giving me gifts. Because I don't like gifts.
I still appreciated everything.
She appreciates it, but it doesn't fill her love take up like, quality time. And so, and this is great because we're spending quality time together, and she, like I said, she's been in other videos.
And physical touch.
Right? So we're getting
the languages.
Right. But this is great because, she's able to come in and be a part of, this is, obviously we spend our life prepping, but this is one aspect that she can get involved in that she enjoys, right? So being able to kind of share her knowledge and wisdom with you. So she appreciates the quality time. And, I enjoy sitting here and, her telling you, I enjoy this as well. And yeah, she's touching my arm. That feels nice. But, this is, for us, this is great because our life is really in sustainability preparedness, right? We enjoy what we do. And so I wish that everybody out there, I wish everybody was a homesteader. I wish everybody could, go out there and really enjoy being sustainable and being prepared.
Yeah.
But I know that everybody's in different walks in their life. So if you're really trying to get a partner on board, and especially if you guys are already married, or if you guys are in a committed relationship living together, like obviously you guys, it's not just, you're not just dating somebody where, you could easily split or, you could go your separate ways. You got to be transparent. You got to be honest, but you got to go about it in a way that makes sense, right? As a guy, myself, type A personality, if you come at me with fear porn, I'm probably just gonna, it's gonna go through one ear and out the other, because I'm not a victim, and a lot of men feel that way. I'm not a victim. I'm never gonna be a victim. I'm gonna fight to my dying breath to not be a victim. I'm not a victim because of the color of my skin. I'm not a victim because I'm a male in America, I guess. Toxic masculinity. I'm not a victim. Okay, there's nothing that you're gonna do to convince me that I'm a victim. Now, with that being said, I'll look at empirical data, I'll look at logic, but at the end of the day, I'm never going to be a victim. So if you're going to try to throw all this fear porn on me that has no backing to it, it's not going to do a whole lot for me. But if you are a leader, if you have moral and ethical backing, and you're something willing to emulate, fuck yeah, I'll emulate. Anybody that's been a first responder or in the military will tell you they have people they look up to because of those things, right? So I like to emulate good leadership. Mm-hmm. And so, I'd say the third thing, the best thing you can do is be a leader. Even no matter who you are, be a leader for your family.
Be a role model for your kids.
Be somebody that's willing to emulate and use those preparedness aspects. Like I said, it doesn't have to be, hey, hubby, we have to get 1,000 pounds of food and 10,000 pounds of water and this and that. It could be something as simple as talking about what would happen, what if. Mm-hmm. Great things we like to do because we're fucking weirdos is I'm the weirdo. We watch a show, Criminal Minds. Sometimes we enjoy watching it together, and it's one of those things where it has the gory, gruesome, murdering, killing, and stuff like that, and it has an interest of hers. Her life's about psychology, obviously. Behavioral. Getting where I'm going with that. So she loves the psychology portion. So it's something that we can watch together and we can enjoy together. But it's, sometimes we'll watch a show and then we'll look and be like, well, if that happened in real life, what would we do? Mm-hmm. Like, how do we go about it? And how would
you respond?
Yeah, and it's something as simple as we can respond from the show. The show is entirely fictional.
And we're having a free conversation about a possibility in
real
life.
Right? So what happens if I need to call you, but I can't tell you what's going on? I'm going to use this phrase, and you'll know this
code word,
and it means this, right? And like I said, it's entirely, it's entirely a hypothetical, but it's a word exercise. It's a visual exercise. It's a physical exercise. It's an emotional exercise. It's a psychological exercise that we can participate as a couple together, and it gets us talking about this stuff. I'm open. I'm transparent with her. Mm-hmm. Right? I'm not hiding anything.
And you were closed off to the psychological side of things, but because you decided to be open, we both input more, right, and we both get more
and like
out.
I said, and it's not because she's super attractive, and obviously anything she says I should just be gaga over it, but you know what I mean? But I didn't believe in the psychology. And to this day I have a lot of reservations, but it was her being, patient with me, right? And patience is key, being patient with me and explaining psychological, industrial psychology. Because I truly believe in that. And anybody that's been in the military, a great example of that. Anybody that's been in the military or in law enforcement, they can tell you industrial psychology is huge, right? Knowing the fact that if I have an attacker that is, exactly 20 feet away from me and I have a Serpa holster, the fact that guy could charge me at full speed with a bladed object and be able to attack me before I'm able to take my firearm out and engage. That's psychology. That is your body's biological ability to react to that situation. I believe in that. She believes in it too. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I believe in that. That's psychology? Yes, dear, that's psychology. Okay, you kind of have my attention. Tell me some more stuff about psychology, And so it didn't happen overnight, but by bringing up great examples and appealing to my love language, appealing to me from a professional standpoint and to an everyday preparedness standpoint, holy shit, I can see it played out every day in my real life. And so there are things you can do. Like I said, you can get your partner thinking about this stuff without saying, hey, dear, we need to go and actually there's this really cool toy I need to buy because, preparedness. Instead of doing something like that, and trying to be this way, we can have real, and I feel bad because it's so awesome that I can have these real life conversations with her. I can really talk to her about she is literally my partner in crime when it comes to preparedness. Like, she's right there with me. That's fucking awesome. You know how awesome that is? I can't imagine what that would be, what life would be like if I had it. I couldn't do it. Like, we talked before we, right before we did this, I was like, I couldn't imagine, like, me having to hide who I am around you. Like,
you wouldn't. You don't know how.
I wouldn't be in a relationship. I couldn't do it.
Honest.
We couldn't be in marriage together. There's no way. Like, if she told me, and that's another thing too, know what your lines in the sand are. For those of you that aren't married, like, if preparedness is a line in the sand for you, make that known. Exactly. You knew that if you weren't into preparedness, this relationship wasn't going to work, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's my line in the sand. Like, we are going to live on a piece of property.
It's a big part of how you identify as a person.
We are going to live on a piece of property, and we're going to work that property, and we're going to do everything we can to be responsible for the human condition.
Super important,
And so for me, that's just, it's a line in the sand, man. There's no other way around it, And so for those of you guys, like I said, that aren't in a marriage or a long-term relationship, they're just like waking up to this.
Don't be a closet prepper.
Yeah. I'll be 110% honest. There's no way I could do this. There's no way that I could be as successful and as prepared as I am. I couldn't do it. There's no way. The idea that I'd have to come home every day and tiptoe around it, I don't know how you guys do it. Like, mad kudos to you guys. Don't know how you do it.
Where did all these sheep come from?
Exactly. Like, I'm just going to go. And it's great because we can.
Man, the Johnsons keep giving us free farm eggs.
Yeah, I know.
This is great.
And it's one of those things where it's like, I can't imagine, like, she always has a hand in everything, and it's nice knowing that I have that, I have that foundation.
You have that support. We have that alignment. We have that, same approachability and the same goal, the same vision. And so, and that's really a gift too, because you do want to be with somebody that supports, your goals and dreams. And being a prepper, it's not just a hobby. It is part of your identity, and it's an extended part for years to come because it's just something that you always do.
It's a lifestyle.
It is a lifestyle. So you've got to be with somebody who's on board with the lifestyle, or you're not being true to yourself. Right.
And as a lifestyle, there's certain ways you can't live life, right? I can't live life pretending to be somebody that I'm not. And you also can't live life motivating yourself by fear porn that doom and gloom's about to happen just around the corner. That's not sustainable. You can't live life thinking, holy shit, you hear this new conspiracy? Trump's already back in office, right? You know that, like, it happened already.
You can't live like that.
You know what I mean? Like, the Insurrection Act happened. It's going to happen. You can't live life like that. You can't. It's just not going to work. So
you have to do what works for you and your family. Get your head out of the clouds and be a doer. Start making decisions. Start getting things done.
Yeah, and like I said, we're under no illusion. That's the word, right? We're under no illusion that there is a responsible way to communicate this stuff. You can't just be like, "Hey, dear, we got to be preppers. It's just how it is." I get that. But at the same time, there is a successful way to do that, right? So I think the moral of the story, if you are in a relationship, I think the best thing you can do is communicate, right? Be honest, be transparent, know what your partner's love language is, right?
Appeal to that. I wasn't interested in prepping until we were together.
Yeah. And so, like I said, she never dated anybody else that was into preparedness.
I didn't do independent research on my own. I didn't source, people on YouTube.
She wasn't watching YouTube preparedness or any of that stuff.
I wasn't cultivating a garden in my backyard.
City girl, And so it was one of those things where it was nice that, we were able to grow together. We were able to accomplish the things we accomplished. But like I said, be transparent. be honest, be open. Your partner should be your partner.
Yeah.
Should be your partner. Should be my, but I should be able to bounce ideas and questions off of her. And she has things to bring to the table. You know, number one, her amazing mind, you know, she brings to the table that I just don't have. I don't have the mind she has. I don't see things the way she does. She understands things at that higher academic level that I just don't get. So she brings something to the table that's great. So it's awesome that I have that. I can't imagine not having that. So you have to, like I said, be honest, be transparent, okay? Understand what fills love in her love tank, and she should know what fills love in my love tank. So it's all about efficiency, right? I'm an empirical guy, and so if I'd like to feel love a certain way, give me that fucking love. And same with her. If she wants, if there is something that makes her love tank fill, let's fucking fill it. Like, why am I wasting time? So why would I do bullshit that doesn't put love in her love tank? And why would she do bullshit that doesn't put love in my love tank? Like, why we fucking around with semantics here, right? Just because one of us, this case me, is too fucking, I'm too arrogant to realize that's the issue. Well, I need to fucking work on that, right? And so, you know, fill each other's love tanks, figure out what their love language is, feel that, and then use that to get your point across of preparedness. It's truly that. I mean, it sounds overly simple, but maybe I'm just an overly simple guy because I'm a simple guy. It makes complete sense and it's efficient, right? And so, you know, and I think a lot of this comes down to, and I'm going to say it, you're scared. People are scared. You're scared to, you know, put yourself out there because you're scared you're going to get hurt. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that that's not a valid reason. But at the end of the day, you as a person and as a couple, you have to figure out, you know, at what point are you going to finally decide to live life.
And then it's really important to revisit that conversation with your partner and also reevaluate what in terms of love language.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people's change too.
Yeah. It's all about being effective. Like, at what point?
Which just goes back to the communication.
Yeah. What point do you guys finally want to live? Live your best life. Live your fullest life. And there is an effective, efficient way to do it. So, you know, especially if you're in a relationship, you know, there's no reason why you can't start doing it immediately. You know? So, at the end of the day, you know, there is a psychology of things. We're people, and we like what we like. I know how I like to get love. I know what I like. She should know that.
I do know that.
She knows what she likes. She knows how she likes to feel love. Let's just, like I said, let's cut out the extra bullshit that doesn't matter, and let's keep her tanks full, right? As preppers, we should be keeping everything full. Our food, our water, you know, our medical supplies, our love. We should be keeping everything full, and we can do that. We just have to know how to do it.
And the greatest thing when you share this lifestyle with your partner is, as you were saying earlier, we're all made differently. We all have different perspectives. We all have different ideas. When you co-collaborate, you know, you feed off of each other, and whatever that partner is able to contribute once they're on board, and until you decide to involve them, like, you're missing out on all that input, all that perspective, all those ideas, all that creativity, inventiveness.
And maybe everybody's different.
How many things even today in our conversation that we had did we both were like, I didn't even think of that.
Yeah. At the end of the day, and everybody's different, and I realize that. At the end of the day, if there's nothing she can add to my life, why the fuck am I with her? Why is she with me if I can't add anything to her life, right? Why are you, if you truly don't believe that person can offer you anything, why the fuck are you in that relationship? And maybe that's a question, maybe that's an honest question you have to fucking ask yourself right now. She has there are some days that just she comes up with stuff, and I'm just like, how did I land you? Like, how am I even here right now? And she has a lot to bring to the table, like a lot. And I would be a fool to not look at that and be like, okay, this is something that we can co-collaborate on. And a lot of that is gained, obviously, from her doing things like everything I just said, being a leader. She's done that. She leads by example. and she does things and she makes sense and she appeals to my simplistic mind, and I get it. Like, okay, shit, fuck, that makes sense, right? And so, if you're with somebody that is you honestly feel can offer you no input, why are you with them?
Or takes away everything
right,
that you love.
Right. You're obviously with that person because you feel that they bring added value to your life. So you have to figure out how to get that added value and maximize that. And a lot of you guys that are closet preppers, relationships are failing because that's simply not happening. And like I said, fuck, that's tough. I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and pretend.
I'm just going to say, stop being a scaredy cat. You stop that closet prepping. You need to be transparent. And you know what? If it's a make or break for you and it's so much of who you are, you need to reevaluate the relationship.
I wasn't that far, but she did.
I will, because I know, and I know for a fact, that was a deal breaker for you. And if I was never on board with the prepping thing, you would have been miserable. Prepping,
I wouldn't have done it.
Outside of me, that's our whole life. Everything that we do, we're always thinking ahead. We're always planning. We're always, looking to the future. And like he said, it's not even just in terms of what we have on hand, but what would you do in this situation, and how would you react, and how would you, protect yourself, right. This, that, and the other.
And we're telling you, it's not easy. Being a homesteading, this isn't easy.
No, it's not.
I mean, the other day, she literally woke me up, in the middle, like literally in the middle of the night, woke me up. I'm in the middle of my sleep cycle. Hey, the cow got out. Fuck.
She's running down the road. And that happens all the time. Things like that. Our cow doesn't get out all the time.
But things happen, and living this lifestyle is, I mean, city girl.
Oh, the well water, it's not working.
Her entire life, she's had Wi-Fi.
Except for the last 2 years. I have adapted well.
She has adapted well, but we decided that we were not, I mean, that'll probably change here, soon, depending on things. It's a conversation that we're having.
But you know what the thing is? It's not something that we need. We don't have to.
Right. And so obviously we're literally making this video in our living room on our couch, But yeah, we don't have Wi-Fi, and it's one of those things where the reason why I can take a city girl who her entire life has had access to Wi-Fi since as long as she can remember, and we can be here living this lifestyle, is because, number one, we're transparent, we're honest. Number two, right? So transparent, 100% transparent, 100% honest. Two, we effectively love each other, and we're effectively filling each other's love tanks, right? This is the person I'm supposed to be with, right? And number three, we're leading and we're living by example. We're both leading, and we both have things to bring to the table. We're both leading from a place of leadership, right? She has
we're
leadership.
Both contributing.
Yeah, she has leadership that she contributes. I have leadership that contributes, and together, this is the life we decided to form. There's nothing more powerful than that, right? And the reason why we can even be, in the position that we're at is because we have those three things taken care of. And we also have a spoiled mastiff right here who's wanting our attention so bad. But you see what I mean? Like that's what it comes down to. I mean, to me, those are the three things that are critical. Like, there's no secret formula here. You know what I mean? Like, your religious aspects and what you believe as a person, honestly, that's irrelevant. It doesn't matter, because really, if you're doing those three things, regardless of what you believe in, you can say you're a Christian. That could mean a fucking 1,000 different things in 2021. So leaving all that aside, those three things are monumental, on how you perceive your relationship and how you're able to accomplish things, as you go. So I don't want to make this too long, but
I think we
did, but
we've done that.
No one's going to be.
Hopefully you guys are still watching.
No one's going to be watching this far in, but anyway, it's out there. It's in the ether. We put it out there. Like I said, if you guys aren't married and you guys, haven't decided this is going to be the person, you haven't made that commitment.
And I'm going to, you Google the love languages. You can take the test online. It's free. So I challenge you to educate yourself.
And I'm going to back her up on that.
That's your go-do this week.
It's important. I mean, I honestly.
That's a way you can prep for free this week in your relationship.
No, like no joke. If you guys, I mean, heaven forbid, I doubt there's any couples watching this, but fuck, shit.
Go grab your wife. If you're a closet prepper, now is the time to come clean.
Fuck, dude. Like, no shit. I'm not gonna lie. Like, what she's spot on. Like I said, and as somebody who doesn't believe in psychology, at the end of the day, if your wife can better serve you, or your husband can better serve you by cutting out the bullshit that you don't fucking like, why wouldn't you fucking do that? Spend your time and energy, babe, into touching me, give me words of affirmation and acts of service. Cut out the other bullshit. I don't fucking need it. Spend your time doing that. You know what? If you just want to touch me all day today, cool. If tomorrow you just want to give me a fucking bunch of words of affirmation and fucking acts of service, cool. Fucking, I don't care how you spin them up. Just fucking make it happen. Don't fuck around with other shit that I don't fucking need. To me, that makes, I mean, when she broke it down like that, it fucking made more sense in the world than anything. So there you have it, guys. Like I said, we know this is long, but transparency, man. Being transparent, understanding how the other one communicates and how they want love and how they accept love, how they want to be loved is super important, right? And then being a leader, right? And everybody can be a leader in their relationship. You know what I mean? Obviously, there's, everybody has their thoughts and opinions on, who wears the pants in the relationship, who's this, who's that, who's head of the house. I don't see how, even if you, because, coming from a religious standpoint, I don't think there's anything wrong with, the husband being head of the house, right?
No.
There's nothing wrong with that. And with that being said,
I want you to lead.
Yeah. With that being said, though, just because I'm head of the house doesn't mean she can't be a leader.
No.
She absolutely is a leader. Every single day she leads. And she leads in different things that she is empowered to do. And
because
different
we
things
both have different gifts.
Different gifts that she has, right? She has gifts that I don't have. And I want her
gifts that I don't
and
have.
I want her to lead in those gifts, right? Ultimately, the hedge of this household, the mantle falls on my shoulders to protect, to take care of, to grow, right? If somebody comes through that door, that's me.
Coba's gonna stay asleep.
Me and Coba were up, right? It's my job, right? My job is to protect my family. My job is to provide for my family. My job is to, like I said, there are certain responsibilities that come with being the head of the house, right? When things go boom in the night, I get up and I go and I take care of it because that's what a man's job is supposed to be, right? I mean, this whole idea that's not, equality, like this, everybody has to be 100% equal in everything. Like, obviously it's not reality, right? I don't want my wife going out to, confront an intruder because she's not equal in that ability like I am, no offense. As you can see, she's very thin and petite and I'm really big and fat, you know what I mean? Like, I'm a fat guy, right? You can clearly see on camera. I'm noticing how wide I am, compared to you. But, that's not her job to go and do that. That's mine. But there are things that she's better at than me, and I want her to lead, and I want her to take the advance on that because she's better at it than me. If you have a problem saying that, it's because you have some insecurity issues that you have to work out. So, like I said, at the end of the day, not to be on a long tangent, be effective communicators, be transparent, okay? I don't think say something else that's controversial.
Just said, be humble.
Yeah, it's something else controversial. I mean, is it attractive when a man knows what he wants?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, be open, be transparent, okay? Find out what your partner's love language is. Fill your partner's tanks, right? If their love language is, fill it up, man. If you care and love about that person, you're gonna fill up their love tank, right? Go about preparedness in that attribute. You know what they love. You know what fills their love tank. Use that to introduce preparedness or anything else in life. Anything else you need to introduce to them, introduce it from that aspect.
Let me interject something for the single people. If you're watching...
Be a good leader.
And you're... Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good.
And you're not a couple, I want you to know, so the love language, they're a tool, primarily for couples, but they apply to anybody. And so if you're a single mom or a single dad and you have kids, you can apply the love language in a same wholesome way with your kids or anybody in your household. And so, a couple people don't feel just singled out that, oh, this is only for you. If you're single and you're watching, and you have someone else in the household, hear this too as a way just to deepen the relationship in your household.
Great example of that. So I'm really close with my grandfather. My grandfather is all the good things that I am and none of the bad things that I am. So hardworking guy, fucking alpha, just he does the things. Like, I learned how to do the things from watching my grandfather. My grandfather, he knows how to fucking do everything. To this day, that man still fucking amazes me. He does the things, okay? And so acts of like doing shit, acts of service, words of affirmation, that's my grandfather. And so that's why me and him click so much. That's why we're like two peas in a pot. Like, we 100% love the same things. And so getting up and doing shit, fuck, I do shit with that man every fucking day. My other brother, he loves gifts. He doesn't really care if he doesn't.
Your mom loves gifts.
Yeah. He doesn't care if you if you do things for him. He doesn't care if you give him attaboys. You give him a gift though? God, he's your fucking best friend. It's the fucking weirdest thing. My grandmother, on the other hand, she's a giftaholic. Like, literally,
Grandma finds excuses to give gifts.
Tonight, my wife made me make a video of an air fryer that she got us.
Which is pretty cool, by the way.
The wings are pretty good.
Dinner was great. You did an awesome job.
So,
Words of affirmation.
Homemade chicken wings. We made homemade chicken wings.
You did an awesome job.
Anyway, yeah. So, Grandma loves gifts, right? Giftaholic, right? So, my wife, being the smart person, she's like, hey, let your grandma know we really like the gift, make a video, whatever. Fucking loved it, right? Grandma came out, visited the homestead, gave her some fresh produce and some fresh meat. Loved it. I mean, she's telling her friends about it to this day because that is her gift. That's the only thing she got from it was, look what my grandson gave me. Not what my grandson's doing. Not what my grandson said. Not any of the other stuff. Look what my grandson got me. Isn't this a great gift? He grew this himself. It's what it is, right? Your children may have different love languages. One may want to spend all the time with you attached to your hip. Computer fucked up again. Looks like it's running out of battery. But one may want to be attached to the hip, just like this one, Used to just want to go do grocery shopping with her dad, just to spend time with her dad, right?
Doesn't matter what you're doing, you just want to be with the person.
You know what? You may not even realize that. As a parent, you may not realize that all your kid wants to do is literally go fucking grocery shopping with you. Because they don't spend enough time with you. Like, literally, it would make their day if you just took your little girl or little boy out to go grocery shopping with you and just let him be a part of that experience with you. Something as little as fucking that.
There were 7 children. I was the only one, and I would make sure I was ready to go to the grocery store just because I wanted to be with my dad.
It could be something as little as that. Or maybe, you have one that just wants, to hear you say, I love you. You're doing good, son. I'm proud of you. Explain to me what you did today at school. It's something as little as that. But maybe, especially if you have a kid that doesn't want your words of affirmation, but just wants quality time, if you know what that is, you're not going to fuck up trying to figure out what it is your kid fucking wants.
Maybe you need to hug your kid more and stop being so stiff.
Right? And you can know what that is by knowing what their love language is. It's as simple as that. Why? It goes back to that foundational question. Why waste your time with bullshit that person doesn't fucking want? Mm-hmm. Why waste your time with something that's not effective? It clicked. Like I said, it clicks for me. It may not click for you. And how I'm under no illusion. How I'm probably illustrating this and explaining this is probably really rough around the edges, but that's what you got. You got the Unapologetic Prepper here. So, like I said, just think about it. Listen to her words, not mine. They're softer. They make more sense than mine. And just go out there, do the things, and to do the things doesn't just mean get a bunch of chickens, livestock, put up fucking miles of fencing like I feel like I have today. It's not about that. It's literally do something. Be productive. Be efficient.
Hopefully we didn't beat a dead horse with the
I
love
think-
language.
I think we beat that horse, but like I said, it makes sense.
But you have a go-do for the week.
So go out there. Let us know if you like this. Actually, I don't really care if you like her or not. You know, on the last channel that I had, you know, my full-time RVing channel, everybody loved when
They probably love Kova more than me, but I can you blame them?
You can't beat the dog, but yeah, no, she, like, every time she was on and we talked about stuff like this, everybody seemed to really like it. Let me know, like I said, if you guys like more of them, maybe we'll just do, you know, this can be kind of a weekly thing, and we'll just, you know,
not always this long, we promise.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll do some more videos about questions that you guys have, or, you know, just different experiences, stuff like that. But just know it's possible, right? And like I said, we're not perfect. We're far from perfect, but do we love each other?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Do we love what we do now? Do we love homesteading? Absolutely. Do we love being prepared?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Will we do this till the day we die?
Absolutely. Will our kids do this? Absolutely.
I don't know if our kids are going to do this till the day they die.
Well, they're going to grow up doing it.
Yeah. But
when they go out on their own, that's their choice.
Right. But this is the lifestyle I'm going to live till the day I die. And I can't be more pleased to have somebody that feels the same. I mean, could you ask for more? Well, I think that's all we got. I think we're going to continue. Well, at least me. I'm going to continue on. Farm table. It's our favorite. We have matching mugs. I think her mom got them for us. So we're going to continue on with our night. You know, making sure that her love tank is filled with that quality time.
Ditto.
And she's going to make sure my love tank is full as well. But as always, guys, hope you guys like the video. If you guys disagree with us, leave us a thumbs down. And then leave your most patronizing comment in the comment section below. We'll be sure to watch it and, take it to heart. Because we take all the comments to heart. But yeah, no, if you guys really liked the video, let us know in the comment section below. If you disliked it, leave a comment down there. Doubt it's going to change anything, but you never know. Maybe I'll read it and learn something. But as always, guys, long live
the Republic.
The Republic. All right.